Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Hey, good morning. Happy Sunday to everybody. Oh, here, I got toast right here. Man, the MLB is killing me recently. I can't seem to get a grasp on it. Really frustrating. I had a winning day on Friday, a winning Friday night. Only made a few dollars. Wasn't anything crazy, but I was like, all right, cool. Like, maybe things are turning around. Man, yesterday sucked. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Frustrating. And now here we are on Sunday. I currently have 2 bets down. There's a lot of angles I like that I'm sorry. Let me just turn my TV off here. Okay, there's a lot of angles I like. I'm like trigger shy right now.
I have 4 bets total.
All right, so let's get started and we'll start with Giants at Reds in Cincinnati. And I mean, I almost bet the Reds last night at plus 110, but I was a little gun shy, like I said, and I'd be holding some value. I'm definitely a little pleased to see that the line moved in what I perceive to be the right direction. That's definitely a good sign because recently I've seen some weird lines and then they end up moving and becoming more weird. So I'm at least a little happy to see it move in the direction I thought it should. So at least that's a sign that I'm starting to see things correctly again. It would only be Reds for me here. It's a little strange. I mean, the Reds haven't been getting to lefty starters, but then yesterday they crushed Kyle Harrison. So I don't know. I predict I'm not down to trust Robbie Ray in his 3rd start. He pitched great against the Dodgers, but then looked like absolute trash against Oakland. So too much uncertainty for me to actually place a bet here, but it would only be Reds.
And I'd be on the opposite side for me. I didn't place a bet either, but it'd be Giants or pass for me. I'm not in a spot where, especially last night, I was wanting to pay like minus 105 max. I mean, I understand they're minus 111, but the Reds versus left-handed pitching. I mean, 29th in WRC plus, 29th in WOBA, 30th in OPS the last 14 days, last 30 days, essentially the full season. They got to Kyle Harrison yesterday. Write this down, or you could type it down, whatever you like to do. I'm a writer, but Kyle Harrison isn't good unless he faces the Rockies. So it is what it is. I don't really put too much into it. I mean, Tyler Stevenson hit 2 home runs yesterday. Again, if they can come out here and do that again against Robbie Ray, so be it. But I honestly do think that San Francisco has a starting pitching advantage, and I also think San Francisco has the bullpen advantage as well because essentially everybody in their bullpen is rested and ready to go. It'd be Giants or pass, but like I said, I'm not betting it.
Poll is on the Giants, 50%, 39%. So as far as the viewership, they're leaning towards the Giants. So the viewership leaning towards the Giants, the line moves 15 cents towards the Reds. Man, I wish I had a Reds plus 110 ticket. Next up, Brewers at Washington. And this is another one where I think I like my side. I didn't bet it because I'm a little gun shy right now. My confidence in baseball is definitely a little low. But I think this is a perfect time to get my money back from yesterday that I lost on the Brewers and go right back to them. So hold on. Brewers minus 130.
I don't even care about the line movement.
Yeah, it's not really the line movement that I'm concerned about. I thought the Brewers were a great bet yesterday, and we all know the tragic end of that. So it's not so much the line movement as much as it is like maybe because so yesterday, if you remember, what I said was I'm betting the Brewers here. They're getting to lefty starters. Yeah, they're a little cold against righties, but they're getting to lefty starters. Then they go out there and get blanked by DJ Hers. So what are we even doing here? How could I go? I don't know. Yes, it should be the Brewers. I'll put a Brewers graphic up underneath my face here. It should be the Brewers, 100%. But I didn't place the bet. Where the heck are my graphics, Andy?
Yeah, again, it's just one of those things where I am worried about the line movement. They were minus 135.
You say you are worried about the line movement?
Yeah.
I thought you said you don't care about the line movement.
I mean, I didn't bet it because I'm in the same spot as you, where like I'm up 2 units one day, I'm down 2 units. I'm up 2 units, I'm down 2 units. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
no,
it's like,
mine's mostly down. I don't have the ups in there as far as the last 2 weeks.
I mean, I'm not making it seem like I'm having a fantastic day either, but I'm just saying, like 2 days ago it was anyway. Tobias Myers has been, I mean, really, really good for Milwaukee, especially again. I always use those last 7 starts. Four road starts in those last 7 starts. 1 bad one against Colorado. I talked about that yesterday as well. Again, I just don't put too much stock into a young pitcher or a pitcher in general going up into Colorado. If they have a bad day, it is what it is. After that, he came home and went 8 innings, no runs against Pittsburgh. Again, he went let a couple off of who was it? The Cubs. Yeah, the Cubs. But besides that, I mean, Tobias Myers has been really good. And Mitchell Parker, on the other hand, I feel like he's kind of lucky. He's one of these guys that just seems to give up a lot of hits. And sometimes he lets the damage get to him and sometimes he doesn't. But when you have a guy like Mitchell Parker who gives up a lot of walks, who gives up a lot of hits, I just think that you're breeding yourself in for trouble. And then when you get to the bullpen situation, I mean, we already know that the Washington bullpen is absolutely terrible. Well, guess what happened yesterday? They used their top 2 arms, Finnegan and Law, both at like 20 pitches. And then the day before that, the Brewers saw every single person in that bullpen, from Garcia all the way down to Adon. So in the last 2 days, the Brewers have seen every single person in that dog shit Washington bullpen. While on the other hand, Milwaukee hasn't used Devin Williams, and they've only used a couple of guys here and there sporadically. So I think that Milwaukee has the advantage here in every part of this, or every facet of this baseball game. So I don't understand why the line has dropped 15 cents or whatever. I mean, they were like 140 when I first looked at this, and you can get the Brewers at minus 125 right now.
So someone in the comments, I'm fact checking him, has said the Brewers are 8-0 in their last 8 Sundays, and that is correct. I just looked while you were talking. So I believe it was Mike R in the comments. Was that? Yeah, Mike R. Kyle.
Mike R.
Shout out Mike R. Brewers are 8-0 in their last 8 Sundays, and I just fact checked it. He is correct. The Brewers have won 8 games in a row on Sundays. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's an angle, but screw it. You know what? I'm riding with Mike R. I don't even know.
I was going to say, I'm literally doing it right now, not because of the Sunday thing, but I it got to a 122 on draft.
Okay,
like,
all right. Minus 122. I get. They've taken it too far.
Well, it's just at a point where it's like, okay, I'll lose my lose my $100 to if I'm so wrong right here, so be it.
All right. Next up.
It's Paul Skeens Day.
Next up, we got Snakes, Pirates, Skeens on the Mound. Sorry for the delays. No prop beaver today, so I'm producing the show myself like we used to do back in the day. So I never.
Off.
What's up?
I said you and I usually don't take days off. The kids, the younger generation.
He needs a mental health day.
They need their days off, you know.
Yep, that prop beaver. So yeah, it's Snakes, Pirates, and Skeens is on the mound. You got some positive CLV on your Arizona bet, Toast.
I know. I'm very excited to watch this game.
Yeah,
I was
too.
ready. The reason I say that is because I was ready to wake up this morning and see Arizona plus 145, 150, and I was gonna be like, but we're not there. So I like Arizona a lot here today. Look, Paul Skeens is very, very good. Like this isn't me. I don't have a problem with Paul Skeens. This isn't me trying to fade Paul Skeens. It's not like I've been fading him a whole bunch. Did fade him against Houston at home. And that's where, like, I feel like maybe there's a little bit, he hasn't pitched as well at home. Maybe at least the results aren't there. As far as they're winning and losing games. Again, this is not me trying to take shots at Paul Skeens. He's one of the best pitchers in our league right now. But, and there's a huge but behind that. The Pirates offense is obviously terrible. We all know that. Let me get an updated one really quickly to see if Andrew McCutchen is in the lineup. Because if it's Andrew McCutchen is not in the lineup, I didn't
think he was playing. I
didn't think he was either, but I just wanted to make sure that I haven't seen anything 100%. But regardless, I assume that Andrew McCutchen, who left the game yesterday,
confirmed
won't be in the lineup.
confirmed lineup for the Pirates. He's not in it.
Okay, so there you go. So again, now you have another AAA, aka bad bat, I guess, in that Pirates lineup for me, and it's just something that I really can't pass up. I'm on the wrong day. That's why it's not showing up. Okay. Anyway, Arizona on the road this year against right-handed pitching. Or on the road this year in the last 30 days, number 2 in WRC plus, OPS, and WOBA. Against right-handed pitching the last 14 days, number 1 in all those categories. Top 5, top 3 in the last 30 days as well. And then you flip it over to the Arizona versus bullpens as well. They've been absolutely killing bullpens. And why is that important today? Well, Pittsburgh's got a little bit of an issue coming in their bullpen. Chapman's went back-to-back days. Bender and Nicolas has went 20 pitches as well. Jalen Beeks has went 3 of the last 4 days. Dennis Santana's went back-to-back days. And I understand that the Arizona bullpen is having issues with Sewald. But now that Sewald's gone, that actually gives me a little bit of confidence because now you have Justin Martinez, Ryan Thompson, Puck, and Ginkel in there. I mean, Sewald pitched yesterday. I really don't even think that we see him today. Even if we do, I just feel like Arizona has every advantage in this game except for the starting pitching. And if Paul Skeens goes out there and throws 7, 8 innings of scoreless baseball and the Pirates win 1 or 2-0, so be it. They can have my money. But Ryan Nelson on the road has been fantastic. I mean, over his last 7 starts, he had 1 bad start in Kansas City, but he looked good against the Cubs. He looked good against the Padres. He looked good against the Nationals. And the Pirates aren't any better than any of those teams, especially offensively. So, again, I think I have the bats advantage. I think I have a bullpen advantage. And, again, Paul Skeens is better than Ryan Nelson. No doubt about that. But I like where I'm at on this bet.
Yeah, and then one thing that's beneficial about me producing the show instead of prop beaver is I get my window captures back. So when Toast was mentioning the bullpens, I did pull it up. Most likely no Chapman, like he said. Bednar, 23 pitches last night. They're going to have to rely on Holderman, who just blew a big game. What game was that? Where Holderman blew it and then went to extras. The Pirates still won, but Holderman, I think was it Arizona 2 nights ago?
Now it's going to bother me.
Yeah, that game where Holderman gave up 3 or 4 runs. Whatever, who cares? Holderman just blew a game. He's going to have to pitch
Yep, on the road in Arizona. He gave up 3 runs or 2 earned runs, 1 run, 2 homers.
Yeah.
Dude, he's given up a homer in 2 of his last 3 appearances. So Holderman has.
This is where I would go. It would only be Arizona or Georgia Southern over 5.5 wins. My graphics are out of order. Arizona or Georgia Southern over 5.5 wins.
Either way you like.
Or over. So Arizona with Toast. Now, he got it last night at a much better number. Or the over at 8. Like Toast said, this the Diamondbacks' best lineup in baseball on the road in the last 30 days. Or I think they're like 3rd, actually. One of the best lineups in baseball against right-handed pitching in the last 30 days. To get over 8 in this game, we might only need 2 off Skeens. So it would only I didn't bet it. It would be Arizona or over something. Maybe an Arizona team total over 3.5, somewhere in there.
I can see that.
Polls on the Snakes, by the way. So people, as far as our viewership, they're betting the Snakes. Not believers in Skeens. All right. Marlins Braves, and this number might have come down to a price where I'd be down to buy in. So last night in the Discord, we were talking about the Marlins bullpen, and I'm going to bring it right up on the screen because that's got to be the lead story here. Is the Marlins bullpen tonight, or the Marlins lack of a bullpen is probably that's probably the better way to describe it. So 1 second, window capture. Let's go over to the Marlins bullpen. All right, Marlins. Here we go. Check it out. So Marlins bullpen, back-to-back days, and all 3 of them, 3 of the last 4. So most likely all 3 of these guys unavailable. Cronin, 34 pitches last night. He's probably unavailable. Let me ask you, how deep do you expect Cabrera to go in this game? And more importantly, when he comes out of the game, who's coming in? I
would be shocked to see him in the 6th inning.
They're going to have to try. So I mean, I think last night when we were having this same discussion in the voice chat in the Discord, this was minus 305, the Braves. Now it's minus 260. You can get a Braves minus 1.5 at minus 115. Here's the reason I haven't bet it. I don't necessarily hate the matchup for Cabrera against the Braves lineup. He's got really nice looking numbers against righty bats. The Braves have a lot of righties. So in order for me to lay minus 1.5 with the home team and only get it at minus 115, I'm going to really need to like it. And I just don't like the Braves enough in the first 5 innings to do it. I think the way to do this would be hope this game starts 0-0 in the 4th, and then live bet the Braves minus 1.5 at plus money or something. I don't think I don't know if I like the Braves to get to Cabrera, but obviously other than that, it would only be Braves here. So I'll put Braves minus 1.5 on the screen, and I like the Braves. The second half of this game is crazy. The Marlins have no bullpen.
For me, I guess I wasn't going to pay the prices last night at what they were. Like Kyle just mentioned, again, I don't feel like a puppet now, but it's at a reasonable price. I guess the only question you have to, I don't really worry about Cabrera against the Braves. I do think that Braves offense is heating up a little bit. I understand last night wasn't as impressive, but they have done a really good job of bouncing back. After losses as well. I mean, they took that loss in Milwaukee on Monday, and they came back with a 5-1 win the very next day. So, I'm a little bit of a Braves guy the last couple weeks. They've been treating me extremely well. And the only question you have to ask yourself is, do you trust Max Fried? Because Max Fried's hasn't pitched since the beginning of July on the 11th, where he went 6 innings against Arizona. His last home start wasn't good at all. He got absolutely throttled by the Phillies, where he gave up 11 hits and 5 runs. But previous to that, his last couple home starts against really bad lineups, aka Pittsburgh and Detroit, absolutely dominated. Again, I just don't know how long you're going to get Max Fried. He has a fantastic history against this Marlins lineup. The last 4 times he's seen him, he's given up 1 run in 12, 15, 27 innings or something like that. He's given up 1 run. So he's absolutely dominated this Miami team. If Max Fried is fine, Braves minus 1.5 should be free. Especially because Braves have everybody in their bullpen rested and ready to go as well. On top of that, Braves are in the middle of a pennant race, or not I guess they're not a pennant race. Maybe if the Phillies keep
they
on
are.
losing,
They're definitely in a pennant race.
Okay. I didn't want to get too crazy. They are in a wild card race.
No, they're
for
5
sure.
out, and they have a series against Philly.
Yep, you're right. I just didn't want to get ahead of myself. I'm new to this whole Braves love thing. I don't know. It just feels weird. I don't know how it comes out of my
just so you
mouth.
know, the Braves play the Phillies 7 times before the season's over.
So again, I think the Braves are a much more live team than than I gave them credit for earlier in the year. I guess it helps that I've been making some money off of them. But yeah, I think Braves minus 1.5 is the play. If not, I have the Braves written down. If there's another team that we can find here that maybe I do like a money line parlay with Sunday, that might be a death sentence, but nothing big. But yeah, it's only Braves for me.
Yeah, agreed. And whatever happens in the beginning of this game, just know if you're considering a live bet that the Marlins have no bullpen arms available. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Maybe there's a way we can turn a profit on that at some point this afternoon. As of right now, I haven't placed a bet on it. Yankees, Blue Jays, Yariel Rodriguez on the mound for Toronto against Mr. Cole.
Coltrane.
Tough one here.
Got my tickets.
Yeah, I know you bet the Yanks. And I also saw you put the Yankees money line in an all New York parlay.
Yeah, it was. Yes, I did that. It wasn't. I didn't go into it being like, "Oh, all New York parlay."
That's what I took it as.
This
guy loves New York. So here's a couple thoughts here. So I think Garrett Cole not as bad as a recent start. I mean, he pitched against Grimace. Grimace always. The Mets have
Grimace. It's Grimace in Boston. You can just throw those starts out the window for me. Because those teams just absolutely own Garrett Cole.
Yeah. So, the two of Garrett Cole's recent starts were terrible. It was against the Mets, who always kill him, and Boston, probably the best lineup in baseball against right-handed pitching. So I think Garrett Cole's fine, even though Toronto has been scoring some runs. And since the All-Star break, they've definitely been a much better offense. Still don't trust them to get to Garrett Cole here. It would only be, to be honest, I think I'm letting what happened on Friday influence my decision making here, because I went in pretty hard on the Yankees Friday night. Then yesterday, and I took a loss on the Yankees Friday night, right? Then yesterday, I liked the Yankees. I was scared to pull the trigger because of what happened. I left money on the table. And today, I like the Yankees again. It would only be Yankees minus 1.5, but still, what happened on Friday really has me. Whatever. It was my only loss on Friday. Friday was actually an all right day, but I wasn't. I don't know. It's the Yankees minus 1.5. I think it's going to be a pass, though.
Yeah, I bet this. For me, I bet Toronto on Friday, and I didn't bet New York yesterday just because of how public it was and everybody had bet them, and it was an easy win. For me, we're getting Garrett Cole after he just got absolutely annihilated by Grimace, as Kyle just talked about. Previous to that, the last time that he faced Grimace, he got throttled. It wasn't that long ago. It was in 625. His next start, he went out and went 5 innings, gave up 1 run against against Toronto. Again, gets hit up against Boston. What's he do? His next start on the road in Baltimore, gets 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. He does bounce back extremely well when he does get pitched well. Not to mention, or when he doesn't pitch well, excuse me. Not to mention the fact he had a couple of days off. Sometimes I think you just need a couple of days off. I think that he was probably set up for this game, because there's another thing that's about Garrett Cole and this Toronto team is that he has absolutely owned this team going back to 2023. I mean, I'm just going to go really quickly. His last few starts: 5 innings, 1 run; 9 innings, 0 runs; 8 innings, 1 run; 6 innings, 0 runs; 5 2/3, 0 runs. Healthy or not, with this Toronto lineup, Garrett Cole has absolutely dominated them, and now you have a Toronto lineup that's an absolute shell of themselves. I mean, Clement, Lufido. I mean, honestly, Vladdy is the only person in that lineup that absolutely scares me. I mean, they're playing De Los Santos at third today. The Yankees should absolutely slaughter this team today if they have anything. As long as the Yankees aren't playing with their food, they should be able to touch up Yariel Rodriguez. They should be able to touch up that dreadful Toronto bullpen. I bet Yankees minus 1.5 and minus 105.
What do you like better? Because I only have 2 bets down. I'm down to add more. Yankees minus 1.5. Oh, man, these are disgusting. Yankees minus 1.5 or Yankees Braves moneyline parlay.
I guess the parlay, because you're probably going to get better plus money odds at least, or very close to it. And in the long run, that's your better odds.
I don't. That's so ugly.
Oh, I know. That's absolutely disgusting. On a Sunday.
Like what?
Braves Yankees. No big deal.
Minus 280, minus 250. What could go wrong?
I honestly do think they win, though. Like, there's a couple other favorites that might be as sketchy, but those are the 2 teams that are literally smack dab in a division pennant race, whatever you want to call it. Those are the teams that have to be taken seriously.
We got Baltimore on the road in Cleveland here. I did bet this one. I took Baltimore. I got it at minus 130. No, I think I did get it I got it around this price somewhere. I forget exactly. I think I might have got it at minus 135 if I'm remembering correctly. So maybe moved a couple cents in the wrong direction, but I think I laid the 1.5 too. You know what? Let me just check.
You did.
I did lay the 1.5. All right, this was late last night. I bet Baltimore here. I'm on Baltimore money line. Baltimore minus 1.5. Remember, Cleveland hasn't been hitting ready starters in forever. Just because they scored a few runs on Dean Kremer doesn't mean we're going to ignore that they didn't get to the previous 15 righties they've seen. And it's not like they're just seeing any random righty. It's Corbin Burns on the mound. I mean, he should be absolutely fine. He should pitch into the 7th inning, 1 or 2 runs tops, which means we only need to grab how many runs off Gavin Williams? 2 or 3 to be in the driver's seat of this game. By the way, Gavin Williams has made 3 home starts this year. Toast, how did he do in those home starts?
6 innings, 3 runs against Detroit, 3 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs against San Diego, 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs against the White Sox. And congratulations, Gavin Williams. You had a good start against the Rangers.
Yeah, but that was way back. That was early.
I know. I just had to give him a little bit of credit.
His last 3 home starts, he got hit up by the White Sox, the Padres, and the Tigers. So now it's Baltimore, and I don't even need the Orioles to crush Gavin Williams. Give me 3 runs off Gavin Williams, and I think they should be in really good position here with Corbin Burns pitching a good game. So, Baltimore.
Yeah, I can't add. The only reason I waited last night is because today to bet it. It's because I had been losing some value on favorites, but that line, I mean, it's all in relatively the same type of thing.
I don't think the price is weird with Cleveland at home. I think this looks about right to me.
I agree. I'm just saying that I didn't bet it because the last 3 or 4 days the lines have moved certain ways that I assumed that they were going to go one way. They didn't go, and it was the opposite. And this one ended up kind of not doing anything, so I should have bet it last night. But regardless, Baltimore, not only has Gavin Williams, has talked about, been bad at home, they absolutely throttle his pitch mix. All 4 of his pitches, they're in the top 10 in baseball against. Orioles on the road, a top 10 baseball all across OPS, WRC plus, and WOBA as well. Not to mention the fact that if you use our spreadsheets over on KyleKirms.com, the Baltimore bats and the barrel percentage against the Gavin Williams pitch mix is absolutely insane. Every single person in that lineup has a barrel percentage that's in the green except for Ryan O'Hearn. Again, Cleveland against right-handed starters is doing absolutely nothing. Kramer and Suarez, they got a couple off of, but keep in mind before that, Flaherty, King, Cease, Walgren, Pepio, and you can continue to go back a month from that as well. They haven't been doing anything as well. Not to mention the fact that Cleveland bullpen is very good, but they've also been used in the last couple of days. Again, they had the day off yesterday, but Baltimore saw them all the day before that. So I do think that Baltimore has a little bit of an edge bullpen wise, even though that they ended up winning yesterday. So with Corbin Burns on the mound, like Kyle said, he should go at 6-7 innings, and then Baltimore can piece together the last 2 innings of this ball game.
Agreed. All right, Baltimore up. Royals at Tigers.
Flocka, playing. Seems really cheap. Really cheap to get the Royals right here.
I mean, I think the second half of the game is a little worrisome for Kansas City, the bullpen. But I mean, it's kind of tough to make a case for the Tigers to get to Waka, that's for sure.
I don't think that I was gonna say I don't think I can end up betting Kansas City because of the bullpen situation, but I also don't know if they lose this game.
But someone in the Discord took Kansas City first 5 run line at plus 100, and even that price is a little like, wait, what? They got a lefty named Herder for Detroit being the primary pitcher, Brant Herder, who's actually going to pitch the open. Like Alex Faedo is going to start. Faedo is going to start, but they're going to bring in this lefty, Brant Herder. So, I mean, I think we could probably just skip this one, right?
I have nothing for this game. Yeah.
So, let's just go. I don't know anything about Brant Herder.
It's Royals or pass. The price to me is a little bit sketchy. I will say that, okay, the reason that it's so sketchy to me is because even after Faedo, that Holder kid or whatever his name is, he's another lefty pitcher. Skubal, Holton. I mean, they've been seeing a whole bunch of lefties. The Royals have, So again, I think them bringing in another lefty only gives the Royals a little bit more of an advantage. Again, that's kind of thin, but that's just how my thought process. So just to get the Royals at minus 135, I think it's just indicative of the fact they don't have a bullpen today, but or at least their best arms in the bullpen. But yeah, it's Royals or pass, but emphasis on the pass.
Next game is Rays Houston. I didn't even look at this game.
I wanted to use Houston as a possible parlay piece, but I just can't do it. I think that they are starting to fall off a little bit. I think that they had a nice little run for a while. But over their last 6 games, they're 2-6. I'm sorry, they're 2-4 over their last 6 games. And honestly, the game on Friday night against the Rays, I mean, could have went either way. I mean, the Rays scored 2 quick, and it took whoever scored late in the ball game won that game. It happened to be the Astros. But the Astros offensively, I mean, it's just really hard to back this team. I mean, their last 10 games, runs scored 1-3-5, 2-3-2, 7-5, 8-2. So you're rather getting all or nothing from the Astros, and that's really, really hard. I talked about it before. Teams that aren't piecing together multiple innings scoring. If you score 4 runs in 1 inning, and then you don't do anything the rest of the game, it's really hard for me to think that your offense is quote unquote rolling right now. So has Spencer Arrighetti been okay? Not really. I mean, his last 2 starts, again, it's just hard to consider where you're at with Spencer Arrighetti because he looked really good against Colorado, but then he got absolutely throttled by Toronto, which was on the road. Then he looked really good in Minnesota on the road. He comes home at home and he faces a Texas team that's not that great. He looks good. He gets throttled by Oakland on the road, and then he comes home and gets kind of pieced up by the Dodgers for 3 runs as well. It was only 4 hits and 8 strikeouts, but still, that Dodgers team didn't have Freddie Freeman. I mean, it was a weak Dodgers team. So not that the Rays lineup is like super, super scary, but they still have Diaz and Lowe. Siri still has power in that lineup. Dylan Carlson, we just saw hit a home run for them. I understand that Dylan Carlson isn't some name to write off about, but he was really good in in St. Louis. There's a reason that the Rays traded for him. So yeah, I think that Houston wins this game, but at the same time, Tyler Alexander and Hunter Pidgeot, I just don't know what to expect from them. So yeah.
What do you think about, like you said, Spencer Arrighetti's last 3 home starts have been solid. The Rays haven't been a team that should scare you and gets right into pitching. But at the same time, like you said, it's really tough to know what to make of the Houston lineup. Also, I mentioned how Spencer Arrighetti looked good in his last 3 home starts. Well, actually, they're not winning the games though. His last 2 home starts, he threw great. He pitched great against the Dodgers, great against the Rangers. Houston lost both those games for the simple reason is the offense isn't there. They haven't been giving him in Spencer Arrighetti's last 4 starts. Here's how many runs the Astros scored in the whole game: 2, 0, 1, 2. So they're just not giving this kid run support. So what do you think about going here, an under?
You know why I didn't? I was thinking that.
High pressure barometric run index.
No, because we've seen 2 really lower scoring games.
Yeah. And then Sunday it'll be a 9-8.
Exactly. Again, don't handicap like that. But if you're doing this on a daily basis and betting 15 games a day, it's okay to make that call sometimes. I feel like so.
Yeah. Don't. But yes, it's 100%. When you see 2 low-scoring games, and you're like hesitant to pull the trigger on the under. But yeah, it would be under here. Yeah, Arrighetti's been good at home. The Astros offense still overrated. Just the team logo gives them a little bit extra runs in the mark. I don't know what I'm trying to say. People perceive the Astros offense to be better than they are.
Correct.
That's what I meant. All right.
And also, both bullpens are essentially rested and ready to go. Astros is clean. Fairbanks and Pache went for Tampa Bay yesterday, but 13 combined pitches, so they're ready to go.
White Sox, Twins. I wish I bet the Twins last night. I could have got Twins -1.5 at +135. I was gun shy. Why didn't I bet it? Well, now it's at -285, and this is just silly. I mean, you can't bet the White Sox here, but like, no. How could you bet the Twins at this price?
I mean, again, if you guys want to use the Twins, like Twins and Braves or something like that, that's fine. I mean, again, it's just you cannot bet the White Sox. I mean, regardless of if you want to be like, like me, like I would love to figure out an angle to get on the White Sox and be like, this is going to be the one game and yada, 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 and go against the world, blah, blah, blah. But there's just no chance in hell. I mean, not only is Minnesota throttling the baseball right now. I mean, they've scored 25 runs their last 3 games. They've just been throttling the Chicago White Sox this year. They are 11-1 against the Chicago White Sox this year, and I think they've only played 2 one-run games as well, maybe 3. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but regardless, they're just beating them by 2 runs or more every time they go out there. So I will say that Chris Flexen, who has been kind of hit or miss at times, hasn't been as terrible as people think he is. And he has 2 starts against Minnesota. Both of them were at home, though, and he was pretty decent. But this will be the 3rd time Minnesota has seen him. And if there is a spot to get to Flexen, it is definitely on the road. Simon Wood Richardson has actually been, I think he's been really good for Minnesota. I would actually call him a revelation. If you can, a guy like him who really didn't do much for you in 2022, 2023, and you come out here and has what is this? It's like 17th, 18th start he's pitched in. Yeah, 19th start now, or at least the 19th game that he's appeared in. So again, nothing spectacular from Simon Wood Richardson, but he is coming off, I think, his worst performance of the year against those grimace Mets. I expect him to pitch really well. I mean, he pitched really well against Philadelphia at home, Houston at home, Tampa Bay at home. He's essentially going to give you 5 or 6 innings and give up 2 runs. If Minnesota can score more than that, I think you're going to be good. So the only way I look at it is Minnesota. But I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. It's the goddamn White Sox.
It's a road getaway day for the White Sox. No, I'm not even putting any bet up. That's just obvious. I would love to take road getaway day. Twins took the first 2 of the series. This is a spot where I would like to take the White Sox, but obviously can't.
Yeah, it'd be. I could get there if we could add to that Minnesota bullpen's a little taxed. They've got so and so on deck, but it's I can't really do that.
Yeah, I mean,
can't get there.
No, what is it? 19 in a row now. The White Sox have lost.
Something like that. Yeah, 17, 18.
It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. And what's screwed up is because of baseball rules, they don't even get a top 10 pick this year because they had a top 10 pick last year because they're in such a big media market and they're in Chicago. So you can't, teams that are in the top 10 or something of media money can't get top 10 picks back-to-back years, regardless of how bad they are. So the White Sox don't even get a top 10 pick this year.
Next up, Red Sox Rangers. I love my bet here. Well, I probably should check to see if it's still there. I bet this last night. Red Sox team total over 3.5, and Andy didn't give me a graphic for it.
I like that. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, this is my favorite bet of the day. That being said, the last 2 weeks have been a struggle for me, so please tail responsibly. This is my favorite bet of the day, though.
What's your number on it?
I got mine. Shit. I can tell you.
I'll look. I can look in the Discord. I got it pulled up right here. Oh, okay.
Minus 120. That's what I got it at. Let me type it on the screen, and then I'm going to go check what it's at right now. So, again, favorite bet of the day, but keep in mind, I've been struggling to see the board. So,
I mean,
what is it at? Did you look?
Oh, yeah, it's minus 125, it's jump all around. But, yeah, it's the same type of number.
Okay. So, I got this at minus 120 last night. I think Boston wins the game, too. So, if you're just looking to play a side, if you don't like playing the team totals, I would look at Boston. But for me, this is the best lineup in baseball against right-handed pitching and has been for a month and a half, maybe even more than that now. So I don't even care that Eovaldi's on the mound. We've seen them get to a lot of really good righty starters. And we're talking about 3.5 runs with one of the hottest lineups in baseball. So, yeah, not to mention the Rangers bullpen. Have you seen? You know what? Let's go ahead and take
I was just about to say, I'm surprised that wasn't on your list.
Oh, it's on my list.
Not looking good.
Oh, it's on my list. So say you're like, oh, Kyle, I like Eovaldi. Okay, that's fair. I will say that the Red Sox have gotten to plenty really good righty starters. But, okay, let's say you like Eovaldi. Look at the second half of this game. There's Texas.
You like paint by numbers?
Yeah, look at Texas. What the hell's Texas? Here we go. Texas bullpen. Second half of this game. Who's pitching? Now, they were rested before this. Kirby Yates threw 32 last night. David Robinson threw 35 last night. Chafin, back-to-back nights. Leclerc, 33. These guys threw a lot of pitches last night. So even if you are an Eovaldi guy, Boston could go into the 8th inning with 0 runs and still cash this. So, yeah, this is, like I said, my favorite bet of the day. Please tail responsibly because I'm struggling to see the board recently.
This is the one I was just wanted to see what the line did in the morning. But I think I'm going to end up tailing that. I think that's a little bit more safer. But again, Boston at plus money here, unless I'm just completely missing something. Yeah, I can understand you making a case that Eovaldi facing his own home team, old team, yada, yada, yada. But he faced Boston twice last year, and he didn't look good either time. 5 innings, 4 runs, 5 innings, 3 runs, 1 at home, 1 away. So it's not even like, oh, they were both in Boston or both, whatever. I mean, he got hit up in both situations, and Pivetta has been real. Again, he hasn't been great. I will give you that. But at the same time, Texas isn't an offense that scares me at all. I mean, I understand that. Again, Nick Pivetta is, I think, a much better pitcher than what they've seen. Not to mention the fact that the bullpen situation, I mean, Boston didn't use anybody in their bullpen yesterday. Everybody in their bullpen is rested and ready to go with multiple days rest. I mean, we just illustrated how bad the Rangers situation is. So unless Pivetta goes out there and just gets absolutely throttled, so be it. But, I mean, again, I like to use those last 7 starts. He's had 4 road starts in those last 7. He's looked good in 2 places. You know where he looked bad at? Colorado, you get a pass, in Cincinnati, which is very close to getting a pass as well. So 3 runs in Cincinnati off of 2 home runs. It is what it is. It just doesn't really do much for me. He looked really good in Miami. He looked really good against the Dodgers. I think he does pitch well here again today. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you on the team total.
Oh, you're going to take I was going to say, I'm a little worried about Pivetta here. I know he's been pretty good on the road, but I forget who it was in the Discord who kind of typed up a thing about he's in the voice chat where someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone.
I don't like Nick Pivetta at all. That's why I'm doing the team total. I've never been a Nick Pivetta guy personally, but
he's been pretty good on the road. But somebody in the Discord was talking about, because you add on the fact that now Young is back for the Rangers, and it's like, is it that crazy to think that the Rangers might be a good lineup down the stretch? I mean, they did with the World Series last year, and so I think the Rangers lineup, you kind of got to throw away the first 3 months of it, and I don't necessarily think this lineup is as shit as their numbers indicate. So I think the Rangers could hit up Pivetta, which is why I feel safer on the team total over.
I would 100% agree with that. And also, Texas is one of those teams that's starting to get healthy. You mentioned Josh Jung. Their pitching should be coming around as well.
It's Jung? I thought it was Josh Young.
Josh Young. Sorry.
It is Young, right?
It is Young. I saw the J. It's been a while. But anyway, yeah, Texas is one of those teams that is getting healthy. So kind of have to watch and pay attention to going forward.
All right, cool. Next up. Let's move on. Let's see what we got. Grimace.
Oh my God. Talk about Heartbreak City. Fucking.
Oh my God. So here's the thing. We can't sit here. For those of you who didn't watch this game last night, lucky you. For those of you that don't know, the Mets blew a 2-run lead in the 8th to the Angels. That being said, the only reason they were even up was one swing of the bat, a JD Martinez grand slam. So, I don't think we can responsibly sit here and say we deserve to win that.
No, you can, because you held the Angels to 2 runs through 8 innings, and your freaking bullpen, who should be.
But the thing is, the Mets, if you take away one swing, the Mets got shut out last night.
I get that, but that's the whole point of taking advantage of this terrible Angels bullpen, and that's exactly what happened. That's what's irritating. I guess that's what's irritating, is that we had the bullpen advantage. That's the part of the game we should have had. And
I don't think it's a terrible idea to say that Griffin Canning pitches well here. I'm not saying. Oh shit! Okay. Oh, that's right. I knew that.
Yeah.
All right, so you're on Mets minus 1.5. So you go, but I honestly think I have a bet that I think I'm going to place, but you go first.
I just don't feel like. Well, first of all, just look at the bullpen situation for the Angels. If you want to pull that up for them while I'm talking. Yep. But I mean, it's just absolutely terrible. Their top top 3 arms, I don't think are going to be available. I know that their top arm, Ben Joyce, isn't going to be available. I'd be shocked to see if they use the other 3 guys as well. But I'm just at a point where I'm tired of not getting on this Jose Quintana train, or at least figuring out a way to back him when he pitches. Because again, over his last 7 starts, I understand that I'm a broken record. The dude has been absolutely fantastic. 1 bad start against Colorado, but against Minnesota, New York, 2 against Washington, Houston, on the road at the Cubs. I mean, the dude's going 5-6 innings and giving up 1 run of baseball. Again, besides against that start against Colorado, Quintana's been absolutely fantastic. And then you flip it over to the Mets bullpen situation, and I'm pretty sure they have everybody, rested and ready to go. Diaz, Maton, and Budo. Those are the 3 that I want, and neither one of those 3 worked yesterday. Diaz has had a multiple days off as well. Again, I'm sure you can see by this point almost the Angels bullpen situation when Kyle pulls it up. And Griffin Canning on the other side over his last 7 starts hasn't been good at all. He did look good against the Mets on the road in Citi Field last year. I will give him credit for that. He had a 7-inning gem against them. But his last few home starts, Oakland, he pitched well against Oakland. Detroit gave up 5 runs against Detroit. He only went 4 innings against Texas, gave up 7 hits and 2 runs. If something like that happens today, I really like our spot. Colorado just put up 6 against him at home as well. So Griffin Canning at home hasn't really been a bet on pitcher either. Again, if the Mets somehow blow this game, it is what it is. But I think that the Mets have a lot of advantages in this game, especially comes late. So yeah, I played Mets minus 1.5 as soon as the line dropped last night.
Okay, so it's not necessarily that I disagree with your bet, or I think your bet to lose. In fact, I think the bet I'm considering placing that we could potentially both hit, I kind of think the move would be take the under here at 9.5.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy myself. That's in my head. I was
This graphic
thinking,
says 10. Is there 10s available now?
what?
No, I don't see any 10s. So when Andy made these graphics, so you can get an under 9.5 at minus 105. I'm going to bet that. So
I was going to say, when I saw the 9.5, I was thinking in my head, either the Mets are going to throttle these dudes and they're worried about them putting up a whole bunch of runs, or, so be it. But yeah.
So, okay, so say what you want about Griffin Canning. What Toast said about Griffin Canning isn't untrue. I will say the thing that what worries me about Griffin Canning when I back him or fade him is if he's seeing a lot of lefty bats. The Mets aren't particularly loaded with lefties. There's a lot of righties in that lineup. So Griffin Canning at home against righties. And by the way, Grimace against righties, Jose Soriano, they didn't touch him last night. Before that, Pablo Lopez didn't really get to him. They got to Woods Richardson, but before that, Spencer Schwellenbach, 7 shutout innings against them. So the Mets against righties, they haven't gotten to 3 of the last 4 righties that they saw. So Griffin Canning gets a bunch of righties. I don't know if I trust the Mets to come out here and crush this guy. And we're talking about 9.5 here. So let's say the Mets do crush Griffin Canning. Does it still get to this number? Have you seen the Angels numbers against lefties recently? Jose Quintana.
I was just about to say, I think that I don't understand the 9.5, because even if the Mets win 7-1, you're good. Shit, they went 7-2, you're good.
Right. So if you look at Jose Quintana, in his last 9 starts, has a 2.31 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. He's been good as hell. He's been solid on the road. And look at the Angels' numbers against lefty bats. One of the worst lineups in baseball. In the last 30 days against lefties, 29th in WRC plus, 30th in OPS. So
the only left-handed starter they've put more than 2 runs against is Jordan Montgomery, which everybody does.
Yeah. So the Angels, one of the worst lineups in baseball in the last 30 days, one of the worst lineups in baseball against lefties. Jose Quintana has been solid. So even if I'm wrong with Griffin Canning putting together a quality start, even if the Mets score 5 runs off him, tell me we're still not live at under 9.5. If the Mets score 5 runs off Griffin Canning, I think we're still live at under 9.5, honestly.
I would agree with that as well.
So, yeah, I just talked myself into it. I'm going to bet this under.
So, yeah, I get. And as far as if you use the spreadsheets on Kyle's website as well, the Mets smash Griffin Canning's pitch mix. It's green absolutely everywhere there. I guess the Angels do that as well, so I guess I have to say that. But, again, it's different.
Yeah. All right, next game. Dodgers.
I'm surprised.
By the way, 79%, 11. Wow. The poll, 79% Mets, 11% Angels. So, yeah, our viewership is betting the Mets pretty hard there. See, Why is this over under 9 so small on the screen to the left? Why is who's going into my my After Effects files and changing the font size? Andy, Prop Eater, one of you
Andy.
guys. Might have been Prop Eater. Going in there, change him. Don't touch. The sizes are perfect. All right.
Touch my skin.
Dodgers over. I mean, Dodgers on the road in Oakland here. Was the final score 2-0 last night?
No, it was 10-0.
What? When did the Dodgers score 10 runs? It was 2-0 late, wasn't it? Oh wow, the Dodgers scored 8 runs in the final.
I was
going to
say, yeah, they scored.
I didn't
9
bet.
or
I didn't
7
bet this
runs in the
game
ninth or
last
something.
night, so I was just like following it. I saw it was 2-0 late. The Dodgers scored 8 runs in the 8th and 9th innings. So yeah.
Jack Flaherty got through some pretty big jams himself. I took a loss on Oakland team. First 5 team total over 1.5. They had the bases loaded with 1 out. They struck out twice. So that Oakland lineup that we know and love so much is throwing up zeros in 2 of the last 3 games.
Is it over? Is the magic over?
I think so.
I'm taking a quick piss. Be right back.
I'm not at a point where I think that it's completely gone, just because of how young they are. But at the same time, River Ryan has been pretty damn good for the Dodgers here. His first 2 starts on the road in Houston, 5 2/3. Yeah, 5 2/3. 2 hits and 1 run against San Francisco, 5 1/3, 4 hits and a run. Not to mention the fact that this Oakland team at home has been much better than they are on the road. But at the same time, I feel like they've been stacking some wins together against some really bad teams. I haven't listed them all down. But Oswaldo Bido is the same thing where it's like, I mean, I don't look, he's had 3-4 starts this year, I think it was. And he looked somewhat decent in one of them. And 2 of those were at home. The Angels hit him up. Texas hit him up. Houston is the only team that he didn't really look that great against. But the issue is I don't think he's going to go deep into this game. And not that the Oakland bullpen is like super taxed or anything like that, but when you take away Mason Miller and Lucas Eckridge, I mean, when you turn to Ferguson, Austin Adams, and Scott Alexander as your top 1, 2, 3. I mean, Ferguson's almost got a 5 ERA. Austin Adams is at a 4. Scott Alexander's at a 3. None of those guys are touching 97 miles an hour with their fastball. I mean, again, my point being is that there's a huge dip from what Oakland used to be late in ball games to what they are now. So I think this is another Dodgers spot. I don't know if I want to pay -150 and at the same time, Dodgers -1.5 is kind of like dead as far as because they're not the Dodgers. My favorite bet in this game would be first 5 -0.5. I think that you can trust River Ryan to continue to pitch well. The Dodgers bats are starting to pick up just a little bit over the last few games. 10-5-1, 5-6-6 runs scored. So the Dodger bats are slowly but surely coming in. Mookie Betts is starting to do fielding practice. He should be back in a few 10 days or so. I think everything is looking up in Dodger land. I think this is a game that they win this series in Oakland. So first 5 run line would be my favorite bet. I don't know if I actually pace it though.
This is a straight pass for me. I didn't even look at it. Like I said, didn't even know that the Dodgers had won 10-0. I thought it was 2-0.
I mean, it's 10-0. I mean, the 6 runs are kind of meaningless, but yeah.
Yeah, that game was a close game. Obviously, the final score.
It was. It doesn't show it, but it was.
And didn't Oakland leave the bases loaded a couple times or something like that?
Yeah, we're doing next game.
All right, next up we got Rockies. Damn, this line, serious movement. I was looking at this. The Padres are like -165 or something, right?
They were, yeah.
They're
They're not anymore.
There's a man named C. Edwards pitching. Toast, who the hell is C. Edwards?
But they changed it?
Oh,
Hold on. I have Cal Quantrill.
No. The Padres.
Oh, no.
It's Waldron.
Not Waldron.
Who's C. Edwards?
Carl Edwards. Yeah,
why do I have Carl Edwards down?
Because he was listed to go, and they decided to use Matt Waldron on, I guess, 31.
Well, obviously, you guys can tell.
4.
I didn't look at this game. Don't care.
I just don't. You just can't bet the Padres. Again, not against the Rockies. I'm telling you guys, whatever it is this season, the Padres cannot beat the Rockies. The Rockies are 6-3 against the Padres. The Padres. I mean, even last night, obviously you guys know I'm a Padres homer, and last night was lucky. I mean, it really was. I mean, we scored 2 runs late. It was a tie. I mean, that game was tied going into the 7th inning. So I'm not at a point where I trust the Padres against the Rockies. I also am not a point where I trust Matt Waldron right now, where Matt Waldron was on a streak where he was pitching extremely well. Now he's at a point where he's kind of average. He did pitch really well against Colorado in Colorado earlier this year. But again, over his last 7 starts, 1 good start on the road in Cleveland where he went 6 innings and gave up 1 run, but 5 to LA, 3 and 6 innings on the road at Washington. At home, he gave up 4 to Atlanta. He gave up 3 to Arizona. I guess that a decent start against Washington as well. But my point is that as much as I love Matty Waldron, he's not in a great spot right now. Cal Quantrill absolutely is terrible, and he's fallen off a cliff. But again, he did have a decent start against the Padres here. And as we saw as Austin Gomber the other night, sometimes the Padres just can't hit certain guys. So I think it's absolutely insane to pay this price with the Padres. I think they win this game easily, personally. But you're out of your goddamn mind if I'm going to lay -1.5 and not get a huge plus price. So yeah, it's Padres -1.5, but there's not a chance in hell I would bet this game.
I think it would be the opposite. You said, based on what you said, I think it should be Rockies +1.5 or pass. Based on what you said.
I know, but the Rockies have used their top 3 arms in the bullpen 3 of the last 4 days. I just think that the Padres have such a huge advantage later in this game that it's not.
Whatever. Stupid game.
I agree.
Next.
I mean, I wouldn't argue with you. I mean, at the price. I mean, if I were actually putting money down, it would be Rockies or pass. But in my heart of hearts,
well, that's what we want. If we're putting money down.
No, I'm just saying, like, if it's a pass, it's a pass. I'm just saying, like, gun to my head, I guess I'm going to pick the Rockies. But if you're looking at just on paper, regardless of, you know what, I'm not okay.
All right, next up, Phillies Mariners in Seattle. You faded your boy here, Toast. I saw what you did. I looked at your ticket. You have Phillies first 5 run line here. You faded.
You're goddamn right, I do.
You faded your boy.
I did.
You faded Logan Gilbert with a cold ass Phillies lineup.
I did.
All right, explain yourself.
I think I just feel like what Seattle's been doing as far as the runs they've been scoring are a little fugazi. We saw last night what they did. I mean, again, they had that one really good inning aided by a ball hitting the base and walks and stuff like that. And again, I understand that Philly isn't doing anything special either, but if Logan Gilbert does struggle, he does struggle against stronger lineups. This Phillies lineup has dominated him in the past. If you look at Logan Gilbert, I mean, when he faces teams like Baltimore and Boston, San Diego at times, when San Diego is hot, he doesn't really look good. And he dominates really bad lineups. It's for me, I'm getting Zach Wheeler off of a absolute terrible start, just like we did in Baltimore, or just like we did in Philadelphia after he got absolutely throttled by Baltimore. And Philadelphia won that Arizona game 12-1. This is just me backing Zach Wheeler in Philadelphia, who couldn't look absolutely any worse right now. We're getting Zach Wheeler off of one of his worst performances of the year. I think he comes in here and shoves today. If you wanted to play a first 5 under, I don't hate that. But I don't think I don't think Seattle's going to get to Zach Wheeler at all. I think he's going to put up zeros. So as long as Philadelphia scores 1 or 2 runs here, I think I win this bet. So Harper finally hit a double last night. It's starting to come around. It was still a little bit ugly, but again, we'll see what happens. But I think that in the first 5, I got it at a big, decent plus price. I'll take my chances here. So, I mean, the Mariners won off of a walk last night. It's not like they were doing anything. So if Mitch Haniger beats me, so be it.
All right. So I looked at this game, obviously, because this is a really cool game. Two playoff teams. Seattle should be a playoff team. Two excellent starting pitchers. Obviously, this is going to be the game that's on all of our TVs come later on in the afternoon. Yes, go ahead.
Just going to say, really, I found the number I was looking for. Logan Gilbert against top 10 lineups right now, 5.29 ERA compared to like a 0.9 ERA against bottom 10 lineups. That's the stat that I was looking for earlier.
Okay. So this is, I like what you said, by the way. And I think I agree with what you said. And I haven't bet this yet, but I think I'm down to bet this right now. So I'm going to want to pull up here. And I was looking at this last night. Weird bullpen situations for both teams. So we're going to start with Seattle. So all their arms should be available because they were rested. But Munoz just threw 20 pitches yesterday. Garcia, 25 pitches. Snyder, 18 pitches. They used every single arm in their pen yesterday. So, yeah, all these guys were 2 days rested. They'll all be available. Phillies just saw all of them. All of them. So, I don't like that. But then on the other side, look at the Phillies pen. They used all their guys as well. Estevez threw 28. Hoffman, 27. Alvarado, back-to-back days. He probably doesn't pitch. Kirk, I mean, they used all their guys also. So such a strange, like they're.
That's why I kept it to the first 5 because I knew like that. I honestly feel like it's such a coin flip later on in this game.
I think this is the move here, Toast. I think the move now that the price has dropped to a 4. I think the move is just go Phillies money line. It's down to like minus 120 now. I agree that Zach Wheeler pitches well. Like we said about Logan Gilbert, I'm certainly down to fade Logan Gilbert on at home. I know the Phillies haven't been scoring runs, but I think this is the time to do it. I think this is the time to play Philadelphia here. So yeah, I would also this total all the way down to 7 with two bullpens that are everyone just saw these arms. How I wouldn't be mad at a Phillies team total over or a full game over 7 or even a Mariners team total over. Nah, I would go Phillies team total over as well. So I'm gonna bet this.
But if you're watching this and think that we're crazy about the Phillies and the Mariners are going to score, just watch this game. And as soon as you start seeing the starting pitchers come out, then you can bet a live over because there's probably going to be some runs you would assume later on in this game with the way that the bullpen situation is.
Someone in the comments said, aren't Phillies a bottom lineup right now? Yeah. In the last 30 days, they're like a bottom 6, bottom 7 lineup. So you're definitely right, Theo Sofianos. I think we all know, though, that the talent they have on that lineup, they're not a bottom 10 lineup, even though the numbers indicate.
Last couple of weeks been bad, but full season they're a top 9 lineup on the road and versus right-handed pitching. On top of the fact they're top 8 in every category is in Logan Gilbert's pitch mix as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. I found 2 bets to add, 3 if I count the Brewers. So all right, add it to my ticket here. I like this Phillies one. I think this is the right side. But again, I've been struggling to see the board. It's been a rough few weeks for me for baseball, so please tail responsibly. Next up, Cardinals, Cubs. Sunday night baseball. Sunday night ball. Cardinals, Cubs. Sunday night baseball in Wrigley. It's magical.
It's magical. Can you say good morning?
Hi.
Reese, who's winning Sunday night baseball?
Who's winning?
Please point to the blue team or the red team.
Is blue or red?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to do yes or no questions for him.
No, I think he said blue.
Could be. Oh, whoa. Maybe he liked the Cardinals a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you, Reese is wrong.
He's confused.
Reese is
He's
wrong.
confused.
Reese said blue team. Reese is wrong here. I think this is a Cardinals spot. Now, Sunday night baseball, you'll very rarely see me with a Sunday night baseball bet down like early on. I usually place this at like 6:30 because it's like a standalone game, right? And it's Sunday, so like feel like shit could go all kinds of crazy ways. And by the time 6:30 hits, I might be like, I don't even want to place another bet, or I might want to do some fun shit. But personally, I think if you are going to bet this game, the way to go would be the Cardinals. Where's my Cardinals graphic? Okay. Cubs use Neris on back-to-back nights. You know what? Let me get that ready. Let me get that up for you guys to see. Sorry about that. So Cubs use Neris on back-to-back nights. You can't see that. So they use Neris on back-to-back nights. They've also used Smiley on back-to-back nights. Hodge threw 24 pitches last night. Cubs bullpen certainly not in the best of shapes. Cubs lineup, yeah, they've shown up here and there. recently, but as a whole, this is still not a unit I trust against righties. I know Michaelis has definitely faded a little bit, but Justin Steele has gotten it look really bad in a couple of starts here. Do you agree, Toast Cardinals?
Yeah, I don't understand this price.
It's Justin Steele. It's a Justin Steele price.
I don't understand how. Yeah, so I understand that Justin Steele is really good. I also understand that he's looked really good against the Cardinals in his past. Also, but on the other side of that, the Cardinals saw this guy, 7 times last year? I know I might be exaggerating, but it was at least 5, and that's not an exaggeration. So I was kind of leaning under in a way because I saw that total up at 9, and for Sunday Night Baseball, I thought that was really high. But I'm probably going to end up betting the Cardinals here. I just don't understand this price. Miles Michaelis, again, you can poke holes at him. There's no question about that. But he's a pretty solid veteran starter, and I have a hard time believing that he goes out there and just get absolutely rocked here today. His last start in Chicago earlier this year, he went 6 innings and gave up 4 hits and a run. At home, he didn't have a good start against them either. But at the same time, over Michaelis's last 7 starts, his last 3 road starts, 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs on the road in Atlanta, 6 innings, no runs against Washington, and 6 innings, 2 runs against Pittsburgh on the road. So, I don't think that the Cubs offense is much better than any one of those teams at all. I don't get this. Justin Steele hasn't looked good at all, especially at home. He had that one good start against the Angels, but besides that, it's mediocre.
His last 2 home starts were shit.
Yeah, mediocre, not even going deep into ball games. And that's when I say mediocre, like if he gives up 2 runs, that's not terrible. But if you're going 4 2/3 or 5 1/3, you're doing your team a disservice because now you're going to that bullpen. And if that were to happen here today, then we have a huge advantage for the Cardinals because if he goes 5 innings, who are they going to put out there? Julian Merriweather? I know that Jorge Lopez has been really good for them, but even that's just 1 inning. And then you have to worry about the Cubs piecing it together everywhere else. Not to mention the fact that I don't even trust guys like Tyson Miller and Julian Merriweather. So again, the Cardinals, Helsley's worked 2 of the last 3 nights, but he only went 9 pitches yesterday. So I actually think that he would be available. So the only person that's not available, I think, in the St. Louis bullpen is JoJo Romero. So who's been good for them, but it is what it is. But I don't get this price. It's cards or pass.
Yeah, same. And you can, like Toe said, say, hey, Michaelis has looked a little shaky in his last few starts. But okay, how are you not painting Justin Steele with that same brush? Justin Steele's looked so bad. So you take into account the lineups. I don't know if the first 5 edge is necessarily that crazy for the Cubs here. And then you add in the Cubs that have a shaky bullpen situation. In my opinion, this game is a coin flip. And at plus 125, someone's giving you plus 125 on odds on a coin flip. It's what we would refer to as a plus EV bet. So, yeah.
Also, these teams play like, and I know I'm not capping this like this, but like when the Cubs and Cardinals play, it's usually a coin flip. And over the last 10 games, St. Louis is 7-5. Last year, the Cubs were 8-5 or something like that. So when these 2 teams play, it's a coin flip. So I would assume, I haven't looked, but I would assume if you were to blindly bet the team that was getting plus 120 every time these 2 teams played, you're probably sitting pretty right now.
All right. Community parlay. Let's play the song.
Community parlay is for the community. Making a parlay. Yeah.
All right. So let's do the Sunday community parlay, and then we'll bring Andy on and talk about some football.
Did you see the red score yet?
Yeah, 2-0. I didn't bet it. I almost bet it at plus 110 last night. Such an asshole. All right, so community parlay. All right, first we're going with Brewers. Then we're going with Pirates. No, Diamondbacks won that poll. Then we're going with Braves. Then we're going with Yankees. So go ahead, cast your votes.
Andy, have you said hi to Thad Matter today? Or are you just hanging out being his bodyguard?
Andy's in here? Oh, there he is.
I forgot they can't hear you, so never mind.
Yeah, they can't hear Andy.
Andy's a big Thad Matta protector. He's like Robin Big. There's Andy and Thad Matta sitting right next to each other.
he can't respond, so it's really easy for me to say whatever I want.
There, he can respond now.
Oh, I'm on now? Oh, hello. I just saw myself pop up. I was like, what? No, they had a good recruiting class and he just completely shits on them right away. He's like, don't care, still Thad Matta or something. I'm like, what the heck?
No, just saying. He's Mr. Average. Definition of disappointment. Thad Matta. He's gonna get everybody from Butler all excited.
Next up.
You know what they remind me of? They remind me of Rutgers. I mean, get all excited.
No,
and
the
then
Rutgers this year is different.
I hope so.
Football and basketball, different.
Eh,
They're actually going to be competitive.
basketball has been quote unquote different for a few years now. Football this year is different.
They missed the tournament this year. They should probably fire the coach.
Yeah, definitely.
How much they
Didn't
have.
they just give Peichel a long deal though?
I think they did it before last year.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's recent. Before
that
last year
doesn't
is
mean-
pretty recently.
That doesn't mean anything because he can still be fired.
No, I agree. I don't know Rutgers history like that. If they're willing just to eat money, I guess that's all. Is Shiano still the coach in Rutgers for football?
Oh,
Yeah,
He
and
just got an extension himself.
Dude, and they brought in like a top 10 recruiting class. They crushed the transfer portal. They brought in Callie McManus to play quarterback from Minnesota, who, granted, looked a little shaky last year. Rutgers, man, New Jersey college football's on the map.
Whatever happened to AJ Sauce or whatever that kid's name was?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't think he's there.
Really?
It's funny. They had Wimsett, who was like a 4-star recruit, and he was like incapable of throwing the football. And now in Kentucky camp, people are talking about like he might actually start for him now.
All right. Third leg of the community parlay. Cast your votes. So far, it's Yankees, Orioles.
I'm excited for college basketball this year.
Yeah.
Redemption.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good year.
St. Mary's
Hopefully
cruise
football
control
wins
to
it.
the division, the conference.
Is this good? Do you think it's coming down to the last couple of years where Gonzaga's in that conference though? I think we're getting down.
I
to
don't
the
think it
last year or
matters
two.
with Gonzaga. When you have a top tier blue blood program like that, it's just really hard to worry.
Yeah.
You know,
Top tier blue blood, he says.
You're right.
Top
We're
tier
probably a little
blue
bit better than the blue bloods because all we know is Sweet 16s. That's all we know. So.
Certainly don't know Elite Eights.
Don't know national championships. That's for sure.
Oh.
All we know is Sweet 16s, like it's a flex.
It is a flex.
No.
Yes.
You're a blue blood program. You got to win chips, Toast.
Yeah, and we've played in 2 of them. I mean, that's better than most teams can say.
Yeah, but blue blood programs need to win. Other blue blood programs are saying win or bust.
Yeah, I know. At the time, North Carolina had more money than us. What do you want me to say? We got money now.
You know?
We will win.
Well, I mean, they're only spending it on one sport, so yeah, there's a lot to go around there.
How many more Nemarts can you guys pump out? You guys are fresh out of Nemarts.
I'm just telling you, he's going to be an All-American this year. So
You guys are going to run out. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of Nemarts.
you know what? Well, we've got that Minnesota connection. So all those teams, all those guys over there, anything that's somewhat decent from that Minnehaha area, we're just taking them.
All right, so this poll's kind of close. I'm going to give it a few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end poll. And the winner is Brewers. So Yankees, Orioles, Mets, Brewers, money line. Can someone shout out the odds on that, please?
I'm trying. My action is so slow. Yankees, Orioles, Mets.
Brewers.
4 parlay 640 640 yeah
640. All right, so community parlay: Yankees money line, Orioles money line, Mets money line, Brewers money line plus 640. All right, Toast. Enjoy your day.
Have a good night, guys. Andy, nice to see you. Okay.
All right, so let me switch Andy over to the other camera. And then and then you don't talk. Yeah, that's how it goes. All right, there we go. Let's get your name on the screen. So I was going to do the Bengals today, but me and Proppy were going to just do 2 NFL teams tomorrow because we're just going to start with Arkansas State, and things are looking pretty good here. I actually bet Arkansas State over 6 wins.
Yeah, I actually saw that you posted yours yesterday. I think the other one was UTSA you went with?
Nope. UTEP.
Or UTEP. Wrong. I always mix those teams up. They shouldn't exist.
You know they're 2 separate teams, right?
I'm well aware they're 2 separate teams.
Doesn't sound
I think
like
I mixed it up earlier in the year, too. I said Frank Harris went to
yeah, you
UTEP.
did. You
I
did
was
say
like,
Frank Harris. All right. So, for those of you that don't follow Sunbelt football, Arkansas State, you know what? Let's break out my notes here. 1 second. They had the Freshman of the Year in the Sunbelt Conference. Jalen Rayner back at quarterback for his sophomore year. High hopes. People are expecting big things out of the kid, and I don't see any reason to doubt that from happening. Butch Jones back in his 4th year at head coach. The team has improved each year under his tenure. They even made a bowl game last year. Same coaching staff underneath them. Jalen Rayner, as a freshman, a 148.2 passer rating on the season as a true freshman is impressive. Both their leading rushers are back in the backfield. They bring back most of their receiving core. Their 2 leading receivers are back. They only lost 2 starters on the offensive line, but they brought in a kid through the portal that they like. So the offensive line should be improved as well. It's a lot of positives here. Now, the defense... the defensive line should be solid, deep. They brought in a bunch of transfers, a ton of transfers on the defensive line. Maybe not as crazy about the secondary, but I like this team a lot. And you guys, if you're in the Discord or you subscribe to the website, you already saw this. But I like Arkansas State over 6 wins. You can still get a 5.5, but it's really expensive. I think it's like minus 170 or something now, right?
Yeah, I think it would. It changed pretty quickly, this team. I was surprised when I saw this number. I thought their over-under would be a little bit higher, honestly. I'm very high
Well, did you
on
look at
this
their
team.
schedule, though? Because
there's a tough schedule, but I think there's some teams you look at and you're like, I have to look at their schedule before I pick. But then there's some where I don't feel like they do look at the schedule sometimes. Like, you'll see SEC teams that have, like, over 10.5, over 11.5 wins, and they'll have, like, the toughest schedule. So, like, I was curious about, but this one I was curious about because they're as bad as their defense was last year, and it was pretty bad. That was really the only bad spot of their team. They were good everywhere else, and as weak as their secondary was, it was very weak. I think everybody being a year older helps. Like I think that's natural, and everybody's a lot of those guys being a year older. Like you said, he spread out the transfer portal really well. I think they're a well-coached team. Butch Jones, like you said, SEC caliber head coach. He was at Tennessee a few years ago. So they have a really good coach who's probably looking to get a big job after this year, and I expect him to be able to. I mean, I don't even really know what to say about the offense. They're a top 25 unit basically in the country coming back because, they were pretty good.
Top 25 unit in the country.
They were pretty great at everything. I mean, they were really great
They're
at
a top
at
3
everything.
unit. They might not even be the best offense in the conference.
I think they're the best offense in the country.
App State might have
It's going to be close. It's going to be very close. But
Also Texas
I think
State.
they're bringing back everybody. Like you said, they added a couple of things. But I really like this team. I was very surprised that the number was worse. I have the over.
Yep. So put up the over, and then let's move on to. I feel like the Arkansas State over is a very popular off-season win total pick this year, and with good reason. You bring back the freshman of the year at quarterback and most of your returning starters. People are like, yeah, this team's going to be good. So it makes sense.
I was a little surprised he stayed, Rayner. So that was a good keep for him.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best. The best ads are the guys that don't leave. I think it is put.
Yeah, he could easily have been starting at Iowa.
Everybody could be starting at Iowa.
Yeah. Next, that was the joke.
Yeah, I know.
Next up, Coastal Carolina. Not really sure what I.
It's
I
New
know
Era
you
around
like
there.
this team better more than I do. So hold on, let me get the poll running here. We got 6 wins for Coastal Carolina is what I have the graphic set at. That which means it was at 6 last night when I made these graphics. So hopefully it's still there. All right, Coastal Carolina. So Tim Beck back, second year as head coach, same coaching staff underneath him. This is going to be the first time in a while that we enter the season, and we enter a Coastal Carolina season, and Grayson McCall isn't the quarterback. Although he did miss time last year, so it's not like, oh, we have no idea what this team looks like without Grayson McCall. I mean, he's been injured here and there, so we've seen plenty of action when Coastal Carolina didn't have Grayson McCall at quarterback. Do you like this kid, Vasco? Or
I do. I mean, the numbers he put up last year speak for himself. I mean, as much as it could be like a sophomore slump situation where now that he's the full spread guy, he's the guy that's going to get every snap. That could like knock him down a little bit, but I mean, his numbers speak for himself. He's 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, 700 plus yards in a couple of games. Like that's really, there's not much you could say there. He did a really good job. We thought Noah Kim was going to start, and I mean, I guess that they trust this kid a hell of a lot more. So, yeah, this is. I think their offense will be fine. Year two of this system, they'll be ready. Quarterback that was in this system, technically last year for a couple of games. So, yeah, I like the offense of this team, but you have to play 2 sides of the ball.
Well, I don't even know. All right, so they brought, as far as their offense, they brought back their leading rusher, but they lost the couple of backs behind them, so not really the same unit coming back. They lost their top 2 wide receivers. They did bring in a couple receivers through the portal, but we're talking about a D3 kid, a JUCO kid, so I don't know if they necessarily fill those shoes. I think they should take a step backwards in that department. They bring back 3 starters on the offensive line, but the 2 that they lost were probably the 2 best O-linemen that they had. So I think, as far as the Coastal Carolina offense, you're taking a step back in every single position group. Most importantly, your superstar quarterback. So I think huge step back for the Coastal Carolina offense. On the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line got gutted. Now, in Phil Steele for Coastal Carolina, he wrote that they brought in some pieces through the portal on the defensive line, but I was looking, I couldn't find them. I always like to double check because Phil Steele.
I didn't see them bring in anything.
Right, because
I thought they did a pretty bad
obviously
job.
he writes that months ago, so like things could have changed. So I always double check. I couldn't find any pieces. I saw they brought in one kid from Youngstown State, but he's a 260-pound defensive tackle. So like, I'm not saying like, oh, he can't play, but like, I don't know how much a 260-pound defensive tackle could impact. But they lost a ton of production from the defensive line.
And the production they were getting wasn't very good.
Yeah, exactly.
Defense wasn't good last year, so, and you're not bringing anybody in to supplement that. So now the guys that were playing like crap last year, their backups are playing. So like that's why I was I like this offense. I think the offense will be fine. I don't think it'll be as good as it was when Grayson McCall was at the front, but I think they're gonna grow as the year goes on. But this defense could be the worst in the conference. I mean, it was pretty damn bad last year. And you don't supplement any of that. That tells you all you need to know. Like, unless they really trust these young guys that they had recruited over the last few years. But this coaching staff didn't recruit those guys, so they wouldn't even know that. So I don't know. I don't like this team most likely because of their defense. I think their offense will be fine. Maybe we go through their schedule, we can find a few steals.
Let's go to the schedule.
I don't like that. They always have an easy schedule. Somebody just commented Coastal. They always have an easy schedule. That's one thing Coastal does very well. They're smart with their scheduling, but man, it'd have to be a really easy schedule to carve up a bowl game here. Maybe they can, but I see William and Mary on there, so that's not as easy as it can get.
All right, here's Coastal Carolina's schedule. Let me just make it fit on the screen. All right.
Oh, that is easy first 3 games.
Here we go. They can win that first one to Jacksonville State.
Win the first 3, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Virginia. I
Nah,
mean,
not
shit.
gonna beat
No, I know, but like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's crazy to think that they could beat the Virginia at home.
Definitely not crazy, but I'd still lean them not winning that one, but
Yeah,
because I do think Virginia's a little bit
Let's say they
improved.
lose either the Virginia game or the Jacksonville State game, or they'll lose one of those three. Let's put them 2-1. So let's say they're 3-1 after that. The home to Old Dominion's probably a win.
Yeah, that's winnable.
Well, I mean, I also think
tougher.
Old Dominion, I think, will be able to stop the run this year, just like they did last year. The rest of the team is kind of, we're about to talk about them, actually. So let's put them at 4-1. At James Madison, loss. Louisiana's a loss. At
Troy's probably a loss. I like the Troy team a little bit there.
Okay, so we're still at 4 wins. Appalachian State loss. They probably beat Marshall.
I think on the road, I don't think they beat Marshall. I think it could be a neutral site. I think they're very even teams because we had questions about Marshall yesterday. I think I'm a little bit sold more on Marshall, though, to be honest with you.
So let's give them a loss. Marshall, Georgia Southern, Georgia State. They'll win one. I would lean under here.
Yeah,
it's most likely 6, but I would lean towards. I would say closer to 5 wins than 7 wins.
Yeah, if you're looking at it and it's still 6. I think it's a good play at 6 because at least you'll get a push if they steal one of those. But I would not go any. If it's 6.5, I'm staying away from that. This team's not. There's not.
So you're
7
saying
wins
over 6?
No. I would say, yeah, I would probably lean closer to just the 6, and it would push. Maybe you get a steal, but I don't see it happening. If it got any higher, no shot.
No, I would go under at 6. I would say I think they're at 6 wins, closer to 5 than they are 7.
Well, maybe we look up on September 21st and they stun Virginia or they steal one of the because they are always a feisty team, Coastal, but their defense would have to be.
They are always a feisty team.
Feisty team.
You describe them as feisty.
I say feisty.
They are a feisty team.
Feistiest non-academy team. That's what they are.
They are a feisty team. All right, next up. We got Old Dominion. Speak of the devil. You're just talking about them.
Talk about a team that got gutted.
Yeah, but I actually think okay. I don't. I don't have all negative things to say about Old Dominion. By no means am I going to sit here and be like Old Dominion's going to be good. But I don't have all negative things to say about them. So let's go ahead and get the graphics going here.
They were let me look. What were they? They're 6-7. They lost the famous Toastery Bowl. We talked about that bowl. Ricky Raines in his 5th year here. They're 11th in the conference preseason. So.
11th in the conference preseason. Okay. So, Old Dominion. My bad. All right, so they bring back Ricky Raines at coach, his 4th season as head coach. Same coordinators underneath him. Now, let's mention, before we get into the production that they lost, let's mention that the team did improve last year. They won 6 games, 5-3 in the Sun Belt Conference. They played in a bowl game. The returning production numbers right on the screen there. In fact, let me go back to that. 93rd in overall returning production, returning 10 starters, 6 on offense, 4 on defense. I mean, it's not absolutely terrible. They are 130th in the 2024 recruiting class rankings. So one of the worst recruiting classes coming in. Definitely not what you like to see. Now they do bring their quarterback back. Grant Wilson's back at quarterback. And honestly, he wasn't bad last year, Grant Wilson. Here we go. Here's Grant Wilson. You can see when he had a clean pocket, he actually was very efficient throwing the ball. A- turnover-worthy play rate. Pressure to sack rate could be a concern. It's 34.5%. So if you pressured Grant Wilson last year, he took a sack on 34.5% of those snaps. That's alarming. And considering Old Dominion is losing 3 starters on the offensive line, that's going to be a concern. Can they give this kid consistent, clean pockets to throw out of? Because he did show us he can throw the ball if you give him a clean pocket. Their leading rusher, Kadarius Callaway, he's now taking the carries out in Cal. So he's gone. They did add a couple backs in the transfer, though. Kid from Virginia Tech, kid from Rutgers. So they have some backs, but they lost their main guy from last year. They also lost their top receiver, but they kept a few of their main pieces from the receiving core. No question, even though they bring their offense back, and they bring their quarterback back, that the offense should really struggle this year. This is going to be a tough offensive unit. That being said, on the other side, I think Old Dominion's run defense is going to be good. Now, excuse me. All right, so I want to bring it up. Where's like the run defense here? Oh, here we go, right here, on the other side of this graphic. So look at the left side of this graphic here. Old Dominion was able to stop the run. Now, keep in mind they're playing a Sun Belt schedule, so we know that they're not the 12th best run defense in the country. But 12th in run defense ranked, 24th in defensive line yards, 47th at stuff rate, 51st in power success rate. Old Dominion did a good job stopping the run last year, and they bring 6 of their top 8 defensive linemen back. So the strength of this team last year was stopping the run, and I don't see any reason with the same defensive coordinator, 6 of the top 8 defensive linemen returning. They also should be pretty set at linebacker. Defensive front should still be able to do a good job stopping the run. So I think they could even be better. So there's a lot of negative things to say about Old Dominion, but I think they're going to be able to they're going to be a solid Sun Belt run defense.
Yeah, I like last year, decent defense. That's good. I'm a little less on their offense. I think they brought in. So you say they improved, and yes, they did. Statistically, they improved, but I mean, they improved upon an awful offense. In 2022, they averaged 19.5 points per game. They had a streak in November in which they didn't score a touchdown for 13 quarters. That's unheard of. So they improved on that. They got up to 23 points per game. They hired Kevin Decker from Fordham. Like, that's good. I don't know if you're going to see that big of an improvement again, and I feel like that's what they would need with as good as with their defense being what it is. Going to be solid, but I really don't know if they're going to gain enough again on offense. I think they need to make another jump to get better than they did last season, and I don't see it. So I think the schedule is definitely tougher.
Yeah, let's do the schedule.
For a couple of weeks. I mean, the schedule, that's why I'm so the way I am about it, because even if they do improve their offense, I think the schedule is tough enough that early on they're not going to steal games.
Well, let's see.
I got them 0-4.
They could beat East Carolina.
They could. Doesn't mean they will.
They're certainly
it's more of a
toss
toss-up than the other 3.
Virginia Tech is going to come in.
They're going to get punched in the mouth.
Drones is going to have 750 all-purpose yards. Oh, actually, I mean, against the defense, we probably.
They're going to cover in that SC game too, because that's going to be a freshman or a sophomore in his first game, but they're not winning it. So
of these first 4 games, I think this is winnable.
That's easily the most winnable, but I think that's because the other 3 aren't winnable.
No, I never trust ECU away from home.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's more winnable, but I'd probably.
I think they win one of these. At Georgia State.
Well, they should beat Georgia State. Yes.
That's 2 wins. That's a loss.
Beat a home game against Gasso should be a win.
That's 3. That's a loss. Wait. They're beating Gasso. Georgia Southern.
No. I'm saying you have 2. Where's your 2? I don't think they're beating Coastal, so I've got them 1 win until.
No.
Gasso,
they beat ECU. They beat Georgia State.
All right.
They beat just Gasso. That's 3.
Differ there. Yeah, we differ on ECU. So I have them at 3 wins. So I got the under.
James App State loss. James Madison probably a loss.
They beat.
This
Marshall,
is winnable.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know where the 5th win comes from though.
I have them at 3.
In order to get the 5th win, they're going to have to win this game right here on the road at Coastal.
Yeah.
Which I think Coastal.
I don't think they're gonna do it.
I'm not betting the under here. I would
lean the under.
I think they'll land on 5. All right, so I'm not betting this though, but I think they land on 5. Dude, with a good run defense, you could slip your way into a couple wins.
Yeah, they'll keep games close. Definitely, they'll be in. I'm not saying they're gonna get blown out a lot. They're gonna be in games.
I'm not betting this over, but I think I would be closer to the 5-win mark than the 4. I mean, it's you can get it at plus money too, but definitely not going to be on my favorites. That's for sure. It's tough to make a case for their offense. Next up,
South Alabama.
All right, South Alabama over 6.5 wins. South Alabama under 6.5 wins. All right, poll is running.
Yeah, this is a tough team, I will say. I didn't have a ton on this team because they were one of the teams that, if you look at their ranks, their beta ranks especially, which we use a lot, they were a little bit better than their record with their beta ranks. Their beta ranks were in the 40s, but their record was 6-7. They went 7-6. So like those are that's better than 7-6 to be in the top 40s as a Sun Belt team. But they lost a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, their returning production is tough, and they didn't exactly replace a lot of them. They're just hoping that the guys below them can come up and do what the other guys. I mean, they lost some NFL talent. They lost some transfers as well. So like they lost everything that was kind of making them a good team last year.
Okay, so we'll start with the coaching staff. Obviously, Kane Womack's gone. He's part of the Kalen DeBoer staff over at Alabama now. So if you look at the, you know what, I'll pull it up. If you look at the coaching right here on the bottom left of the screen, it looks like there's 3 brand new names here, but it's really not. I mean, Applewhite was the OC last year, and those other 2 guys, Azell and Wyndham, they were both on this staff last year. So yeah, it's a new coaching staff, but they were all with the program last season, so it's not as new as you think. So I'll give them that. This guy, the Corey Batoon, their DC, he's gone. He took the Missouri job, DC. So major upgrade for him. All right. So quarterback Carter Bradley is gone. He's actually in the Raiders now. So they do lose their quarterback. I kind of like Gio Lopez, though. And that being said, admittedly, don't know much about him at all. Looked like a beast in the bowl game. But, I mean, that bowl game was against Eastern Michigan, a team that had no business even playing in a bowl game. But in case you didn't pay attention during bowl season, this kid Gio Lopez that is now taking the starting job had 192 yards passing, 3 touchdowns through the air, 88 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown. So Gio Lopez went off in the bowl game last year against Eastern Michigan. Their leading rusher Webb is gone. Did you know that's actually the nephew of Ladarius Webb?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah. So their leading rusher was LaDamian Webb last year, and he's gone. But he's the nephew of Ladarius Webb. So they lose their leading rusher. They have their number 2 and 3 backs back from last year, though. So it's not like their running back room got completely gutted. But the kid Webb, their RB1 last year, he took more carries than the number 2 and number 3 guys combined. So he was their main guy by far. So he's gone. They also lose their star receiver, Lacey, over 1,300 yards receiving last year. First team all-conference. He's gone. Although they bring the rest of the depth from the receiving core back, they do lose the star receiver. Their defensive front 7 crushed. They lost all 4 linebackers. In fact, I even read that they're switching to a 4-3 because they literally just don't have the linebackers. They were running a 3-4 last year. They lost all of them. They also lost 3 key pieces on the defensive line. The front 7 is a problem. They all a completely new unit. So let's go to their run defense stuff. So and the reason that it's particularly a problem is their run defense was good. So like I don't know how you could expect. Hold on, let me find it. How you could expect them to replicate the defense. There we go. This is the graphic I was looking for right here. Look at USA's run defense here. 12th in yards per carry allowed, 16th in rushing and run defense success rate, 37th in effective rush. So I don't know how you can expect them to replicate that production with an entirely new defensive front 7. I think there's only one returning piece from the defensive front 7. So that's concerning. Do you disagree with anything I said?
No, I agree with you. The way that I looked at it was because I couldn't really gauge how I felt about this team. I kind of just looked at the projections, and they're projected to allow 7 points more per game. That's full touchdown. That's going to change a lot of games they're in, and I don't know if their offense is good enough to keep up with that. So, like you said, Gio Lopez, I would say we saw a few bowl performances last year that felt fake. I would say him crushing EMU is probably the closest, but yeah, I just looked at the projections on it. I'm going to trust that if they're going to fall off 7 points per game, I don't know if it'll be that bad, right? Projections are what they are. Maybe it'll be a 4-point drop off, 5-point. Still, close games they're going to happen. And I don't know in this conference if you can have a good run defense in this conference. Fine. But you have to have a good pass defense because I think we talked about how good some of the quarterbacks are. So I don't know about this team because that's a number. I need to look at the schedule again, but I mean the number of 6.5. I mean, you're saying if you're going to bet the over, you're saying they're better than a bowl team. They're going to be a 7-win team. They don't have to worry about, the whole bowl thing. So I don't know about that.
All right, South Alabama. Here we go. Got their schedule up. This is South Alabama's schedule.
I don't like the schedule at all.
I think they lose to Ohio on the road in Ohio. Why? Because Ohio's going to be able to run the football this year. I like that running room. I like, obviously, with Rourke gone, the passing attack for Ohio is going to take a step backwards. But I think Ohio can run the ball. And heading up north there early in the season, I think that's a loss.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And it's a road game. Like
also,
you said,
could they lose to North Texas?
Yeah, they definitely can lose to North Texas.
They'll beat Northwestern State. So there's one. Lost to Appalachian State. They'll lose at LSU.
They're crushing Death Valley.
They'll probably lose to Arkansas State, right? They're going to be at least the touchdown underdogs there.
Yeah, I think Troy's a toss-up for me. I would probably lean them winning that one.
Well, this is the cake of their schedule right here. This is, 3 W's in a row. Troy, Louisiana Monroe, Georgia Southern.
They have to take advantage of those.
They're going to be significantly favored in all three. Well, in these two, they'll be significantly favored.
What does that put us at, though? We need them to win the next three?
That only puts me at 4 wins.
That's not happening.
Yeah, no way.
They're not beating Texas State.
Yeah, they'll lose to Louisiana. They're going to be dogs. This is winnable. Southern Miss.
Yeah, Southern Miss is certainly a winnable.
But that still only puts me at 5 wins.
Yeah, you need 2 more
under,
to get
right?
over. I'm under. Yeah, I'm under.
I'm betting this one now.
I'm betting this. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
When you read through the schedule, like maybe if you're counting on them winning that North Texas game, that's not you can't bet on that.
And even even what we just did, even if we give them the North Texas game, that still only puts me at 6.
Yeah.
So I like the South Alabama under. You know what? Rather than waste the time trying to find it, I'm just going to add it to my list of bets I'm placing right after the show. South Alabama under 6.5 wins. I wrote in the graphics that I did these last night. I wrote plus 125. So I would love to get a plus 125. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Yeah, see, I think. You know, 1 second. Futures.
I would assume it didn't move that much overnight. I mean, these lines are. I will say.
No, and I did these at like 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know? Like. So it wasn't like, oh, this is yesterday around dinner time. No, this is South Alabama. So under 6.5 plus 128 on FanDuel. Sign me up. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm in on that.
All right.
Yeah, that's one of those. This is a team. Like you said, Womack leaving it. I don't know if you look at it this way, but when a coach like that leaves for a coordinator job, and I know it was Alabama, don't get me wrong, it kind of signals like he knows everyone's leaving. I better jump on the better job now. Like, let's say he comes back and he could have had a good season. He probably could have gotten a head coaching job in the SEC with how many teams are going to be firing their coaches. But he looked at it, he was like, nah, I got to leave for the coordinator job. That says something to me as well.
It's not a great look.
Even if it is Alabama.
I still think a coordinator job at Alabama is still
doesn't pay as well though.
Is that true? The coordinator? I don't know.
I
don't know anything about that.
There's more opportunity in being the Alabama, but also if he would have taken South Alabama to another bowl game, that would have been a big spot. He's a young guy that everybody loves. Cam Wolf. They love him. So.
All right. Louisiana Monroe, and
it's a bad football team.
This is hold on, let me bring my slideshow here so I can get some Louisiana Monroe graphics up. Brace yourself for this. So I literally I'm gonna read you what I have written down for Louisiana Monroe. It's short and it's sad. All right. So Louisiana Monroe. So Bowden, head coach, is gone. Bryant Vincent takes the head coaching job. So we got a new coaching staff here. He was the OC at UAB for a while. Then he was with New Mexico last year. So he had a couple decent OC jobs. He's now the head coach here at Louisiana Monroe. He brought one of his guys with him that he coached with at UAB to be the DC. His name's Ernest Hill. Not going to pretend to know anything about him, but he was the DC. He was the defensive coach on that UAB staff with Bryant Vincent, who was coaching the offense. So entirely new coaching staff here. Hunter Herring is going to be the quarterback, it looks like. He was there last year, but he wasn't the starter. He don't really know what we're going to get there. This team, and here's the kicker. So not only is there a new coaching staff, but Louisiana Monroe is dead last. Well, actually, I guess this is second to last now that there's 134.
Yeah, I don't know if the overall returning production counted
Yeah, for
Kennesaw,
for
it wouldn't
Kennesaw,
matter
yeah.
anyway.
So Louisiana Monroe, 133rd in returning production. Just 7 returning starters from last year on both sides of the ball combined. 7, 2 on the offense. So yeah, and by the way, from a team that's returning nobody in the new coaching staff, we're talking about a terrible football team last year.
Yeah.
This team only won
yeah.
2 games, and honestly, they shouldn't even have won the Army game. They should have been 1-11. So this is a terrible football team that brought in a completely new coaching staff and lost all their starters. So in all honesty, what reason is there to be optimistic for Louisiana Monroe, for the Warhawks?
Yeah, not even a speck of. I didn't have much written down. All I had written down was that their offense, maybe it'll be a shade better with an offensive guy. I don't know. I don't think so. Their depth chart is very. I mean, they brought in a running back who's only going to bring in depth. Like, he's not going to start. So I don't know. This is not a good team. This is it's a bad football team. The fear I've always had is when you look at the 2.5. I mean, you're betting on this team to have the roof fall out on their season quickly, and I don't know if. I've never bet a team to only win 2 games. That's risky. This might be the closest I ever get. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I mean,
So let's
they have a
Louisiana Monroe schedule.
Yeah, and the schedule. I will say this: the schedule doesn't really do them any favors after week 1. Like,
Yeah, Louisiana Monroe. All right, let me get their schedule up here on the screen. Here it is. This is Louisiana Monroe's schedule. All right, they could beat Coach Prime, or the team formerly known as Coach Prime, Jackson State.
Yeah.
Home against UAB, no. At Texas, oh, that'll be close. That should be a close one.
I think they'll win that one. Yeah.
That line might be 50.
It will be 100%.
At Troy,
No.
home Southern Miss. There's a winnable. We got one winnable game. But remember, if we're going under 2.5,
need them to lose
if you want to
against
go over
Jackson
and take
State,
that plus 30, if you want to take that plus money, you need a 3rd win. So here's one. Loss.
That, I don't think there is another one.
I mean, maybe they could steal one of these 2. I mean, but they're going to be significant underdogs in both of them. I'm saying
they're going to be worse than all of these. Yeah, they're
okay. I'm not saying that they're going to be better than these teams. I'm just saying maybe they could steal one of these 2 because I don't expect either of these 2 teams to be good. So maybe they steal one of these. Look, I'm grasping at straws here. Loss, loss. Yeah, so there's. I mean,
don't see it.
they have to take both. They have to win these 3 games or steal one against one of these.
Yeah.
So
I mean, are you counting? What are you counting Jackson State as?
So this is a win, and I think this is winnable. They need to take one of these. So if you think they could take one of these 2 games, you could go with the. In fact, I'd probably go if I was to bet it, just because of the price, it would only be over.
Yeah.
But no chance in hell.
It's tough. They're going to be the worst football team in this conference by a pretty decent margin, I think so. So yeah, that's going to be tough.
You would be under?
I would lean under, but I'm not betting it at minus 160. Betting a team to go under 3 wins is crazy. So.
All right. I forgot to load up the Georgia Southern graphics because we forgot to do that. We didn't get to it yesterday, but we'll talk about it at a different time. Yeah. Everyone, go enjoy your Sunday. I have a couple MLB bets posted. I'm about to post a few more right now. Remember to bet responsibly today. MLB's been rough on me recently, so please tail responsibly. Be back tomorrow at the 4 p.m. time. We'll do 2 NFL teams tomorrow, the Bengals and then whoever was tomorrow on the schedule to get back on track. Thanks, everyone.